Hey guys, how's it going? This might be my first video with my new phone. Can't remember. I'll have to check the last one. But I got the new Galaxy S6. I guess it's not really new, but I picked up the Galaxy S6 a couple months ago. That's why my Instagram pictures have been looking better. And just wanted to do a quick video showing you some of my recent stuff. Knives are in the works. I have a new Warncliffe blade that I've been working on and some Damascus on order and some heat treat stuff I gotta take care of before I can really get into some knives. But they are all kind of in the process. So in the meantime, still sticking with the Bandicoots mostly. So that's gonna be what I'm showing you guys today. So first up, I finally had some bronze G5s cut, and this is my first, or not this specific one, but I did a handful of bronze hybrid G5. So as you can see here, the hybrids of course are the titanium base layer and then a different material for the top. You sometimes even have 3 layers, and most of them have underlays, not all of them. This one I used trying to get the light the best here. I used a yellow C-Tech material with a 1/16 mesh, and then behind that, underneath it, inside is a toxic green G10 disc. So it has very much, again, it's hard to see with the angles because the shadow that the is creating, but it's kind of a toxic green C-Tech essentially. So that's a cool one. It's up on the site now. The other two sold, and I think the other one already shipped. It had the copper matrix C-Tech, which is the copper in the resin, but it's kind of all spirally. Looks good. So I just wanted to show that. I leave the bronze mostly raw, so you got some nice marks in there. Looks kind of rustic. So I'm a fan of that piece. And just, I don't know if I ever showed one of these before. Probably on Instagram if you follow, but maybe not on YouTube. This is basically what I get for my water jet guy, so you can see the work that goes in to make the finished tool. So everything's sharp edges right now, or 90-degree edges, not necessarily sharp, but the tab, and then you get, might be hard to see, there's always a taper with water jet, and it leaves kind of a rugged finish. So I end up going around by hand and finishing all the edges to make them nice and smooth, because I've a lot of guys get these cut, just toss them in the tumbler and they just kind of look like trash. But not trash, but they just don't look as good as they could if they spent the time. That's part of the reason I go through so many belts, is with the titanium tools, cleaning up these edges kind of just eats away the ceramic. So go through tons of belts cleaning these up, but I think the difference is worth it. So that's kind of what that looks like. Also on the site, if you guys have been around for a while, you can probably go back a couple years in videos. You'll remember this guy. This is the original G1 Bandicoot before there was hex or hex holes or anything anywhere, or hex cutouts. Just a basic little tool. So I had my water jet guy recreate one. It's kind of my little ode to the original OG Bandicoot, if you will. So this one has the mosaic insert. Just a cool little piece, kind of nostalgic. A couple of those are up on the site now, I think, too. I had a guy do up some little leather slips for me. It's my first time offering anything like this with a Bandicoot. So he had I think he's kind of a beginning leather worker. I'm not 100%. I'd have to go back and see what our conversations were like, but I don't think he's been doing it for too terribly long. So he had a lightweight G5 of mine, and I just so happened to have 4 blanks that were the exact same thickness. So I had him make 4 sheaths based on the one that he owned. I have OD green stitching and just that medium kind of natural tanned leather color. So I had 4 of those. They sold yesterday. It's a nice snug fit. I'll knock my camera over if I try to pull it out in front, but they still need to be worked in a little bit. But the tools that came with them were the skeleton G5, and then I chamfered the ring hole and hex hole after I tumbled it, so they're a polished look. So just a nice tool, and then a nice little touch with the sheaths. The response was pretty good to them, so I think I'll be doing more stuff like that. And then I'll put a little note in for all the customers that got these, just that they need to be kind of worked in, and as they settle into the shape of the tool and get broken in, they'll be a nice fit, and then they'll age cool as well. I always like leather when it gets a little beat up looking. Another hybrid I have up on the site. This is one of the classic kind of combos, if you will. It's a Mokutai. Sorry, a little piece of dust on the underlay. A Mokutai underlay, which if I catch the light good, it's kind of a purpley blue. Zirconium top, titanium base. All these have beta titanium screws. So this one's up on the site as well. Just kind of showing it off. And lastly, this was the final, I don't know if I showed the other ones in the video, the hybrid weasel collaboration I did with Sam over at Rabbit Weasel. So most of you guys, if you're following the Instagram Pocket Tool stuff or whatever, know that he's making these little weasels. This is just one of the models, but he does a bunch of different shapes and sizes and whatnot. So I paired up with him, and I think we ended up doing 10 or 15, basically this style of hybrid tool with 2 layers and an underlay and the 3 screws, but using his design. So this one is obviously not the 2-layer one, but it's also one that I kind of just did my finish work on. But the other weasels would basically, where that large hole is, have an underlay under there, and then a titanium base. I think if you go back on my Instagram, there's tons of pictures. I sold most of them with an auction, and they did pretty well. The response was pretty good. So this one I just had on the shelf. It was going to be the middle layer of a different hybrid, but didn't work out. So I did a nice fully perforated version. See how close I can get with this camera with it focused. Doesn't want to focus on that. So I have a couple leaf stamps on the behind the eye, and then multiple perforations, and then it's copper that I've force patinaed and given kind of a rustic look. So that sold yesterday via auction as well. And one last piece I'll show you guys, just this G5, and then I found a superconductor supplier, and it's kind of washing it out in this light, but he had this superconductor, basically like rod. Most superconductor that I bought, and I think most people get, is kind of cut from like a 2.5-inch diameter. Think of like a soup can, cutting it into slices, and then you get that disc of superconductor at various thicknesses. But this is actually the same detail with all the little copper, I think it's copper niobium or something like that, little pins going through it. But I did some inlays in these tools with that, and this is like a satin finish, so it's kind of picking up everything, all the little marks and everything. I'll have to give them a quick touch up before I ship them out. But I did a satin pry tip. You can see here the actual edge bevels are stone washed, but this pry part right here in the center and the flats were hand rubbed to 400 grit, so a nice contrast with the stone washed edges. See a little bit of dust in there. This camera's picking up everything. This is good and bad. But anyway, I had 2 of those. They sold yesterday as well. So just a quick rundown of what I've been doing lately. I have 3 new models also in the works right now. Full-size pry bar, I'm doing this basic G5 design, but without any of the jimping around it. So up here, these 4, and then all around they're all just going to be smooth. And so it's going to be kind of a much more organic looking tool. And a longer, like I said, a full size, I think it's 5, maybe just over 5-inch long pry bar, essentially the G2.5, which is this guy. So imagine this tool, but with like a 5-inch bar, so that hex will just be moved back, and the middle will just be all titanium. So a little bit more of a functional pry bar in a sense, not so much meant for keychains. But anyway, guys, that's it for now. Just wanted to show you that. I have some other, I think I have 4 or 5 sheets at my water jet guy now, so I have quite a bit of stuff in the works, some new stuff, and I'm always trying to make one-off interesting pieces for the website as well. And lastly, this is something I remember polling some of you guys about on my old website years ago about t-shirts and stuff. So I finally pulled the trigger on some t-shirts, so they're getting printed now at a local place to me. I'll try to just show the screen. You can see there, if it'll focus a little bit. So this is the front, obviously. Of course my computer will go to sleep right when I go to show it. This is the front here with just my basic JW and leaf and my website logo in the upper right chest, and then the back is a logo that I had a guy do it for me. It's basically just a knight's helmet with a leaf, like a Canadian leaf, and then my name on the back. So that's on the back of the shirt. So I think I have 25 of those coming, various sizes from small to, I think I went up as high as triple extra large. So I think I'll just have them on my website. You choose from a drop down menu. The shirt itself, this isn't going to pick up the real color obviously, but it's like a dark gray, and then the ink is a light gray, like a really light, almost white. But anyway, guys, just wanted to show you that stuff. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or if you're interested in anything, you can always check out my website or shoot me an email or anything like that. So thanks again, guys.